Hey everybody, Rex Bear Leak Project. I wanted to do a follow-up on the previous podcast in reference to a Archon matrix, a soul harvesting grid that processes souls after they leave this physical existence on the way out, stopping it like this literal grid based upon technology, and that there's been remote viewers around the world that have seen that. Well, I'm not a remote viewer. I've had many out-of-body experiences, and I've had maybe attempted remote viewing sessions where I can pick it up with the mind, but I haven't practiced the military protocols and the specific applications for a remote viewing project. But I did share with you that time I experienced Salvia Divinorum, which was legal at the time in the state of Texas. And I did it because I wanted to have a vision quest. I wanted to have an out-of-body experience. And I thought that might give me a boost. And instead of taking me out of body, I felt like inside of the earth or inside of myself. And I felt like I was experiencing hell at that time. And I saw this entity that was so massive. And I was in my room when I did it. I was by myself. I was laying on the ground. And after you do it for about 30 seconds to a minute, maybe a little bit closer to a minute, I think it was approximately 50 seconds, I couldn't even move. I couldn't move. And time to me there was no time. I thought I was going to be stuck forever not being able to move. And I'm on the ground. It's dark in my room. And then all of a sudden, I felt like I was connected to other people that were laying down. I saw like this I saw hundreds, if not thousands, of people that were laying down also, and were all connected to each other. And then it felt like I was in this giant stadium. And have you ever been in a stadium when you do the wave, and you wait until it's your turn, and then you do the wave? Well, that's what it was like. And I couldn't move unless I was allowed to by this entity. And whatever this entity was reminds me of the Yama that's described in the ancient Hindu Bhava Chakra, the wheel of destiny, the cycles of life, reincarnation, different levels of reincarnation, everything from the hell realm to the diva realm, the demigod realm, the human realm, the animal kingdom, the wandering ghost realm. And the only way out of this wheel completely is in the human realm, which is interesting. But the Yama is feeding off of it all. The Yama is feeding off of this will, and it reminds me of the description that I shared with you about these remote viewers seeing this technology that was trapping souls, and then it was recycling them. It was harvesting something from the soul recycling system or cycle, and it was taking that and it was like bagging it, tagging it, and shipping it off, using it for its own purpose. And the ancients talk about this entity that came to Earth, took control, had jealousy in its heart, in a sense, because of, I don't know, I guess just how amazing the natural order of the planet was. I don't know why. I'm just speculating there. But this is very interesting. And I feel like what I saw, let me show you this. This is wild. Right there. You'll notice that there's different wills within wills. And there's different segments. Each one represents a particular dimension or emotion or a karmic debt. But the Yama's feeding off of it all. And I'm getting freaked out just thinking about this. That's what I saw. That's what I experienced. I saw it. It's like the micro level went to the macro level. And then I had another experience where I tried it again months later when I finally got I was able to move fear away enough to do it again. And the experience that I had was just as frightening, but it was a little bit different. I was going in these cycles, and I almost felt like I was in these cycles in the wheel here that I just shared with you. And the cycles that it was taking me into, I was getting down, and when I was getting really far down, I would think that I was once again going to be stuck, and I was going to be down there forever, and everything was lost, everything was gone. I felt like I was in hell. And I also remember these guardians that when I would get down there in this, I mean, the whole experience only lasted a minute, but it felt like eons. It felt like lifetimes. And I mean, time's just completely different there. And these guardians were telling me not to come back. They're like, don't come back, don't come back, when I was getting really far down in the cycle. And I was like, okay, I won't. And then as I was coming back up, it was so exciting and so fun to me. I was like, oh, but come on, I want to do it again. This is so exciting. And I did it several times in this one experience that lasted, once again, about a minute. And these guardians warned me over and over again not to do this again. And they weren't referring to that one trip that I was already in. They were referring to, don't take that substance again. For whatever reason, it affected me so much that it took me into like these different realms. It was taking me into different dimensions. And I was seeing the net that's around us. I was seeing the machine, and I remember how much it frightened me and how much it still affects me. But it really made me think about the singularity for some reason. It really made me think about technology and artificial intelligence and the machine and the movie The Matrix. And maybe there was more truth than people wanted to accept in the film The Matrix. But I remember that one line in the film where I think it was Agent Smith talking to Neo or somebody about how at least the machine had enough sympathy to create a simulation while it was feeding off of these people to make them feel like they were in a reality where they had choice and options and could live a daily life and a daily routine. At least they were giving them that illusion while they were feeding off of them and using them as batteries. Because if you look at factory farms today and what humans do to animals, oftentimes in these factory farms, I mean, they're not even giving them the illusion of peace or choice. It's hell on earth. So whatever it was that I was experiencing at that time, I felt like the veil of ego had completely lifted off of me, and I saw things for what they were. I saw the underpinnings. And man, I'm getting freaked out just thinking about this. I don't want to say freaked out. I'm just getting emotional. I can really feel it. Feel it to the point of where like the inside of my the inside of my head is tingling. It's really high vibration, like hair's growing that I don't even know I don't even have hair at the microscopic level. So man, I remember reading about this spirit also in the Nag Hammadi scriptures, or this they call it the big demon in the sky, the demon in the sky that decides. I just heard a bell. I think I'm still on social media or Skype or something. So it describes in the Nag Hammadi scriptures this demon that decides if you can make it to the next level, and if you don't, it throws you back down. And some people get stuck up there forever. It's talked about in the Nag Hammadi scriptures. Remote viewers were seeing similar aspects and archetypes, possibly the exact same thing. Probably, it's more probable. And let me expand. I want to talk more about this experience and these guardians telling me not to come back. Something I felt like one of them was my grandma, almost. Now, both my grandmas have passed, but I'm referring to my grandma on my mother's side. And I felt like she was there also with the first experience I had that scared me more than anything. These two experiences scared me more than anything, but also fascinated me just as much. So I wanted to try, experience it again, but it took me months to do it again because I was so frightened. So anyway, the next time I did it, they kept telling me not to come back, not to come back, not to come back. They said I wouldn't. I still had some in the freezer, in the package, and I was thinking about, maybe I should. And I was going to do it again. Several months later, the same night that I was going to do it, I went on to a forum that I used to blog on frequently, and also they had like a voice chat thing there where people could go from around the world and talk about what was going on in their lives and what we blog about and such. And there was this guy on there that I could tell something was wrong with him by his voice. He was just talking funny, and people were making fun of him, and I didn't like it. It was upsetting me. And he, out of the blue, starts talking about why he was sounding that way, and talking about how it was because he did Salvia Divinorum, and it messed him up so bad that he went from making six figures, being married, living a happy life. It messed him up so bad to now he can't function properly without the assistance of others. He lost his job. He lost his wife. He's living back at home with his parents. And he sounds handicapped. You can tell that there's something wrong with him. After I heard that, and he talked about it the same night that I was going to do it, I was going to do it right after that, right after I was done blogging and talking about stuff and chatting on voice chat. I was going to go do it. And somehow this guy shows up on the chat, says, he didn't say don't do it. He was talking about what happened to him. And I said, wow, there is no way I'm going to do this. So there are definitely, in my belief, what I have felt, experienced, not only seen, but heard, felt, and experienced entities and beings far above and beyond what most people can perceive with what they see with the limited amount of light spectrum that they're able to collect and process with their physical parameters. So I would also like to add, I've had out-of-body experiences where I've pushed myself as far out as possible. And I've gone way beyond the Earth zone. I've gone so far out that I felt that I was looking at the entire universe from a bird's eye perspective, from like a Hawkeye perspective. And I went so far out, I could see the planets turn into specks of dust, entire solar systems, specks of dust, entire galaxies, specks of dust, kind of like you see in certain movies. I don't know, what was that science fiction movie where it started off from Earth and then it went way out into the edges of space? It's very similar to that. And what I remember when I was looking at the universe, and it was about the size of a grapefruit, and it was white, and it had this blue hue around it, this blue hue. I also remember feeling warmth. I can almost refill it now. This very delicate, beautiful, sensitive, loving warmth looking at it. And I don't remember any cord. I've never seen the cord. I've had many experiences. I've never seen the silver cord that's talked about. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but I've never seen it. And it was amazing. So I think that we can get outside of the grid that has been created. I also think that the ancients might be right when you look at the Bhava Chakra. Really study the Wheel of Destiny, the Bhava Chakra. And it describes how the only way out of this will is in the human realm. Even if you're a demigod or a diva, you're still going to be stuck in this will and you're going to be reincarnated somewhere back within the will. The human realm, although not at the top of the will, it's at the side. Maybe it's the 45 degree. Somebody brought up also that matrix and that network, that grid that overlaps the planet. In that comment, somebody brought up the 45 degree angle and different spirits helping out the vessel when it leaves, or when the soul leaves the body at a 45 degree angle. The Great Pyramid of Giza, I think one of the shafts, I don't know if it's the king's chamber with the shaft that exits out at a 45 degree angle. There might be some implications to soul transferring and spirit transference with the Great Pyramid. And at the chamber, the initiated ones could leave through these and the frequency and the harmonics that it created would push them outside of the boundaries, outside of this web that was created around the earth to keep people within. And when you look at the Bhava Chakra and karma and the duality, pretty much everything has been designed to keep people in this net and in this web. Whether it's guilt, whether it's a belief system they have, whether it's something that they've seen or experienced. It's a very fascinating, deep subject. And join me in about 13 minutes because I'm going to have Apollo Asteria with us. She is an incredible musician, guitarist, actress. She's also wanting to make the world a better place. She's got a great vision to help with micro communities and building up people and giving them their fullest potential. You know, it's like the age of Aquarius that we seem to be transitioning into. Will this Archon control grid remain intact or will it break away? I've seen it. I've experienced it way beyond remote viewing. Be the change you want to see.